This is the Classic Auto Mall Show. Broadcast from the studios inside the Classic Auto Mall in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Just 1 hour west of Philadelphia at Pennsylvania Turnpike exit 298. Featuring nearly 1,000 classic, vintage, and barn-find vehicles for sale under one climate-controlled roof. Now, here's your host, Classic Auto Mall president and the man with all the toys, Stewart Howden.
Episode 209, that can't be possible. So
Wow.
I don't have all the toys yet, but if I won the 1.3 billion, that's in. Is that tonight?
It's tonight. It is tonight. Yeah, I'm buying it in Morgantown.
I have the ticket, and I gave it to my barber as a tip. It was in with the money, tip money, and he came out and he gave it to me. I was an honest guy, and I said, if this hits, you've got a free house.
Oh my goodness gracious! So
What a dumb story.
Welcome to the show, and before we get started with our guest joining us via Zoom, let's guess how many cars are in inventory. JR, you go first.
My very first radio station, 940.
Well, that's what I guessed last week, and let's not forget that I hit it now on the head last week.
Let's go.
I wasn't even on camera, so I'm going to say a little bit low. I'm at 935.
I didn't say there was a Porsche reference. 941. We're up one car in a week, so it's like we haven't done anything in a whole week.
I thought we lost a few.
Yeah, you lost a few.
Sold
probably.
a few.
Sold a few. Let's hope, and that's why. So, anyway, joining us via Zoom, Mr. Dave Kinney for his third time on the show, which has to be some kind of record. And it's actually, what is today? October, November, September?
September 3rd.
And season 5 begins.
And season 5 begins of our show.
Yeah.
And the first 4 didn't count.
First 2 didn't count.
This one's for real now.
Yeah, this one's we're really trying. Now, Dave Kinney, good morning. Welcome, sir.
Good morning to you, Stewart. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. We saw you in the metropolis on the left coast in Monterey, and oh my goodness, you guys told me that I'd been missing it for all these years of not going to Monterey, but my God, I had no idea how crazy and madness it was. It was great.
Anybody who says that, number one, we always hear the kids these days are interested in cars. Well, I can tell you that they're so interested they're getting arrested out there.
No, that's interest. That's dedication.
The street shows were amazing.
Yeah.
The events are unbelievable. Somebody was asking me just the other day that I mentioned another event, and they said, well, what is there other than Pebble Beach and the auctions? And I said, probably about 150 sanctioned events. You can't do it all.
No.
There's no way in the world. If you had a sonic-powered helicopter,
Right.
You still couldn't drop into all of them because there's 5 of them going on at a time.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's Porsche events, there's old car events, there's the Concours de Lemons, there's crazy stuff. And, the car culture in California has always been huge, but anybody who even thinks that car culture is dying, you just have to take them out there with a video camera for about an hour and a half, and they'll figure it out that nothing's dying on that.
I love the people sitting on the side streets and in folding chairs, and a road that maybe one car every 10 minutes came down, yet every other car that came down was something cool.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And we were just talking earlier about the street park cars. I took I'm walking now for my health, so I get out in the morning early, and I was doing Carmel mostly, was where I was walking. So one day I did a street parked in Carmel, and there were like 11 Ferraris, a Koenigsegg, just incredible stuff that was on. McLarens like you couldn't count.
Yeah, more than you could. Yeah.
McLarens are like old sedans were in the 80s. When you're in central Pennsylvania, we replaced all those. Of course, everything said Cutlass on it. Was an Oldsmobile back then, but replace all those Cutlasses with McLarens. And I know I'm exaggerating, but it's unreal.
I can't count. I probably counted over 25 Singer Porsches that I saw over there. I didn't even know they'd made 25, and they were everywhere. And as we'd said earlier, there was a Gullwing parked overnight on the street. And I get that it's car culture and car time and all that, but my goodness. And then of course in Carmel, the first day we got there, Tuesday I guess it was, or Wednesday maybe, I can't remember. It was just all running together. Monday or Tuesday, I think it was.
You were there Tuesday because you came to my event.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So, but Tuesday morning, we were just wandering around after breakfast, and there was a car show that wasn't even supposed to be, that was in downtown Carmel, that apparently they had redone it or something, and last minute, and here they had 300 cars probably at this event?
Yeah, it was a charity car show. I remember seeing that, and it got, it's really funny. You're used to, car shows start at, when the sun goes up is when the first person gets there.
Sure.
I'm out walking at about 7:30, and there's 13 cars there or something like that, maybe 14. And then I'm walking around that same area, and then there's about 60. And I'm thinking, man, this show is not going to do well.
Right.
And I guess I left it, 8:45, something like that. And I saw pictures of it. You're right. There are hundreds of cars there. So I guess, when you talk about casual car shows, they were casual about running it.
Yeah.
And, more power to them. It was for charity. It was a great event.
Yeah, and it's great to see those type of events that are for charity. And it's great that they do the Cars and Coffees because, as we've discussed many times on this show, our generation or the generation coming up does not want to sit on a folding chair for 8 or 9 hours behind their car all day long. They want to go out for a couple of hours at most and then go do something else.
Sure. And I mean, that's a big change. And, and that's the way it's supposed to happen. And I keep saying that to everybody. You know what? A lot of the kids don't like the cars we like. Guess what? We didn't like the cars that our dad liked or our granddad liked. So, I mean, we can appreciate them. Sure. And it's, when you get into collecting, then you realize, even though, a Gullwing was from the 50s, it's a really important car. So maybe when you're 40 years old and you've gone through all your Subarus and you've gone to you've gotten a McLaren, you've gotten a Ferrari or something like that, then you're going to go take a look back and say, you know what, I'd love to have one of those for my collection. Sure. And, joke is true. I mean, the cars of the 50s and 60s, we can now rent automobiles that have more horsepower than the cars that we thought were the most outstanding horsepower we could find. So things change.
Yeah,
they change.
My Trans Am at 180 horsepower. Find me any car that has that low of horsepower today. I don't care if it's a Yaris. I don't even know what that is. Is that even a thing? A Toyota Yaris?
It is. Yeah, you don't want one. You don't want one.
But it's got more horsepower than my Trans Am or the Corvette of the era had.
I was on the first of the Cannonball. I'm sorry, not the Cannonball. The now I've lost it. Texarkana to Atlanta.
The Bandit Run.
Bandit runs.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was on the first of the Bandit runs. I bought I bought in Branson, as a matter of fact. I bought a Trans Am for it. And I got to tell you, that was a real eye-opener to me because I'm an East Coast guy. I get out there and I go to different places, and I'm not going to say that I don't appreciate other things. But boy, when I was out doing that run, it was so much fun. And here I am in my $5,000 at the time, $5,500 Trans Am, I think, something like that. That a Mouse family had lived in for a while, so we kept the windows down. But anyhow, people lining the streets, the cops waving at us. The cops all had a great sense of humor about it. They all had their radar guns, posted on us, whatever. It was so much fun. And I came back and I told my wife, I said, I'm used to going to these places with the CEOs of the auto parts company. And I got to talk with the people who work there. And my God, what a wide open event that was to me, because those guys are the hobby, not the CEOs. They got their millions of dollars or whatever. But the guys who work hard and really appreciate those cars. And it was just I went to a car wash, quarter car wash. We used to call them that back when it cost a quarter. Now it's $18 worth of quarters.
Got to walk around with a bag of nickels.
Exactly. But anyhow, I went to a quarter car wash and I saw a guy driving around and he got out of his car. It was like 11:30. I just wanted to get the thing prepped for the next day. And he came out and he just got out of the car and his son was with him. And they said, hey, can we help you clean your car? And it was like, well, why would you want to do this? I mean, he says, because we know that the run's coming through town and whatever. And it was just it literally brought tears to my eyes. That's the car hobby.
Absolutely. Right? And we forget about those guys. And, we have a tendency to, the lower end stuff. You kind of, oh God, here comes a XYZ car and nobody cares about those anymore. But yes, they do. And then it's important that part of the hobby maintained, because guess what those guys become? It's no different than Chevrolet. They sell you a Sprint or whatever the heck those are and hopes one day to sell you a Suburban. Same with the hobby. They get in and maybe they'll get a 85 BMW 5 Series, and it's got 200,000 miles on it. But their next car might be a little bit nicer, and it might be this and a Camaro. And before you know it, they've built their way up and in a humble way, that they appreciate it and enjoy it and don't roll their eyes at it.
And there's nothing wrong with staying with the 5 Series if that's what lines your watch.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and that's that's what I love about the first couple of Cars and Coffees I went to. True story, Lamborghini Countach parked there. Cool car. Everybody thinks it's cool. This dude drives in his Volkswagen Jetta Harlequin edition. Now, for those of you who don't know, they actually made Harlequin VWs. The Harlequin is an Italian clown.
Right.
Okay. So all the fenders and the doors and the hood were all painted different color from the factory. Yeah, I'm not making this up. Scout's honor, all that sort of stuff. And this guy was sitting there and nobody's looking at his car and everybody's looking at the Lamborghini. I walked over and I said, dude, that is the coolest car here. And he says, well, you're the only one who thinks so. I said, to hell with everybody else.
Exactly.
You know what? I see Countaches, not all the time, but I see a bunch of them. Anybody who bought this car knew I want to shake their hand because instead of 50% depreciation, it was 80% depreciation.
The minute they drove off the lot, not the hour.
Exactly.
Well, it's funny how things that attract attention at car shows anymore. And like to your point, we were at we were walking through the pits at Laguna Seca, and the car that caught my eye in the whole pits was a '71 Oldsmobile Cutlass Vista Cruiser wagon. And we had Mike Joy on the show last week, and he said he knew the car exactly, and he had seen the car there, and he said that was the most photographed car of all weekend. There's Formula One cars, there's IMSA cars, NASCAR, all these wonderful cars, and the old Vista Cruiser is getting the nod.
And I don't doubt that a bit because, people can relate to that.
Absolutely.
How many people have owned a Formula One car? I mean, there's not many. How many people remember driving across the country from my age, driving across the country, looking out the back window? Because remember, the back seat in some of those things was paced backwards. Looking out the back window, I have a buddy of mine who said, I saw America backwards.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that those type of cars resonate so well with people because, like you said, I mean, you can see all these wonderful cars and you kind of get a little bit jaded over the years. And so you need to see something different every once in a while to kind of keep you grounded and go, that's why I love this hobby. They don't have to have multi-million-dollar price tags to be cool or enjoyable. We see that on Bring a Trailer all the time too. Yeah.
A lot of the times the cool cars are the relatable cars or the cars that you had no idea existed. I mean, they came back to that VW Harlequin. Sure. I just think, they made like 3 different series of them too. They didn't stop with one. So you can imagine the dealer, the VW dealer. He's like, no, we need 15 Golfs. So the only way you're going to get 15 is if you take that Harlequin. Oh no,
no, please no. But there's a lot of cars that we didn't all particularly know about especially if we didn't grow up in a metropolitan area. I mean, an Opel GT was such an oddball that if you saw one, you'd think, what the heck is that? There was lots of cars that, a Ford Capri, and the denim series where they had denim seats and a denim roof and denim, all kinds of stuff.
Well, I remember the Levi's edition, the AMC Grump. That I had a college professor who had one.
He wasn't a nerd, was he? Sorry.
Hey, Buddy Owens, if you're listening, say howdy.
Drop us a line. So back to Monterey, we were, everybody was worried that the sky is falling this year and that things are not going to be great, and this is going to be an indicator, and the whole thing is going down the tubes. I believe we saw something a little different than that.
Yeah, we did. We, a group of us, just won't get into the details here, but you were involved in this group. We have a little $20 bet that we put out. I'm not eligible because I run the thing. So the winner was one of the 2 outliers.
Right.
We were all bunching around 375 million for the auction sales for the weekend, maybe 365, 380. 420 was the winner, and I believe it's now at like 427, something like that.
Gone up a little bit more. Yeah, and and it proves
that's like our second best year ever, by the way.
Yeah, that's not nothing. I mean, there's some significance to that, and great cars are bringing great money, and of course the person that won it is a guy who's so knowledgeable in the hobby, and so is deserving. Even though you say, "Doggone it, I wish that was me," but it was interesting because he was very resolute about it. It was the number, and you felt like you believed him. He thought, well, I should have guessed that same thing, or let him go first.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I mean, once again, proving me wrong too, because my number would have been around that 375, 385 mark, something like that. But the hobby's strong. We did have one thing, there's always an asterisk. It's just like in baseball, whatever.
Right.
But a little asterisk on this one is that Bonham's got a collection of cars that were government seized, apparently, and they were sold with no reserve. So we had a whole bunch of multi-million-dollar cars there that were sold at no reserve. So we knew they were going to sell. They sold very well, by the way. I don't know if you looked at the numbers.
I did.
Not your business, not my business all the time, but it's fun to see the numbers. And you would think that maybe some of these extreme exotics, these hypercars, I guess they call them, would have suffered if a lot of them came on the market at once, and not true at all. Not true at all. They all did very, very well, with zero exceptions, actually.
Sure. And there was a lot of world record prices out there. I mean, I know RM sold the $26 million charity Ferrari, which was crazy. Gooding had a 7 or 10. I can't remember. It was just It's all just kind of...
I know, it runs together.
You almost should film every minute of your experience out there so you can have a reference to go back and check it.
And Brodeur did well as well. I mean,
they did.
Meekum
did well. Yeah. Gooding did great. I guess it was their first outing with Christie's at Monterey.
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, that's right. And so it was funny because those of us who've been to Gooding since day one, everything was blue. That was their color. Was kind of a mid-tier blue color, and now it's red because that's the Christie's color. So it was funny seeing all that. But everybody was, I have to say this also. Everybody's in a really good mood. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it was fun to see people. Nobody seemed stressed. And the traffic, even though the crowds looked bigger than I've ever seen, the traffic wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. We got caught a couple of times.
It was pretty bad.
We got caught a couple of times, but we were always going the other way.
Well, I have a big tip for you.
Okay.
Don't order Chinese food on Saturday night.
Because they're not getting there, huh?
Well, I went out with a buddy of mine, and thank gosh he's young and he is agile. And I gave him my credit card when we parked 8 blocks away. And he ran, literally to pick up the food. And it took an hour and a half to get about 4 miles.
Oh, my God.
Now, maybe 4.5. And it's not, to those of you who live in New York City, you go, you should have just walked it. You can't walk this 4.5.
Oh, not in Carmel. Oh, my God.
No, it's not going to happen. There's no sidewalks in this place. You would be walking on people's front lawns. Not a big deal. Not a good deal. I mean,
no.
And so everything else. So, I mean, even though it was like no time at all. And of course, we get back to the house and everybody's like, what the hell happened? And I'm like, okay, next time you order Chinese food on Saturday
you go
night,
get it.
And you go get it.
Yeah, we somehow lucked out, and we ended up at a couple of cool places. We ended up at the Monterey Fish House, which when we pulled up, we thought, this may not be a good idea. It was a cinder block building and ramshackle and maybe not in the best. Well, it was near Doty's, so the used car lot where everybody gets all their Lemons cars. Food was fantastic. It was one of those great, cool places that you just stumble on, and it was really wonderful. So it was nice to do that. And that day, we were going that way, and everybody else was going the other way. But going to Motorlux, the traffic going into the airport was, man, I don't know how they controlled all that. There was thousands of people there. It was amazing.
They take over golf courses not just for concours, but also for parking at different times. And a lot of the times that's where the out is on a golf course. Think about it. I mean, Meekum's entire event is held on a golf course. And a lot of the overflow parking, of course, obviously Pebble Beach Concours is on a golf course as well. But it's it is an amazing celebration of the automobile. Did it get a little out of hand at times? Yeah, it did.
Sure.
Is it one of those things that you want to go back to every year? Yeah, for me, I do. But I could see putting it on the 5-year plan as well because it's expensive and it takes a lot of time. We rented a house with another couple out there, and you have to rent the house for the month.
Right.
There's no weekly rentals there. So for the first time, I'm learning here, Stewart. I'm getting better at it. My wife and I spent 3 weeks out there because that amortized the cost down to about $800 a night or something like that.
Exactly.
I don't even want to do the math on it, but actually, so it's substantially less than that. But it was fun. It's a fun time. It's fun while it lasts and everything else. But the important part to get across to people is that Yeah, there's changes in the collector car market, but the collector car market itself still had a very, very strong week.
Sure.
In August, very strong.
And you're right about the going back. Kathy and I have decided we are going back next year, but after next year, who knows? We may decide that 2 years in a row is enough for a couple of years, and to kind of feel it out. I mean, it's not like they'll miss us, It's like they won't say, "Oh, darn, there were 2 people light this year." And it doesn't seem to be. But it seemed like at Pebble on Sunday that there was. I'd seen all the pictures before and video. It seemed like there was way more people there than I have seen before. Do you think that's accurate, or I think there was a probably about a 5 or 6% increase. Now it's really, really hard for people to get this because they've expanded the field. Right. So what you saw was an expanded field. So they've taken over another couple holes basically from the golf course, and so there's more cars there. So that was to get rid of some of the overcrowding that they had. Right. But the Pebble event is always very, very well run, always fun, always great cars. This year, for the first time ever, I picked the winner of the grand prize, the best in show car. But I'm just going to say this: everybody else did too. There was a Hispano Suiza with a tulip wood body, boat tail, and I saw it, and I said, "Yeah, that's it." Yeah. And as a person who works for me reminded me afterwards, you didn't have to be Nostradamus to have that one as your best in show. But. Exactly. Although I tell you, I mean, that was an amazing car, and people were calling me on Wednesday telling me that was going to win, and I hadn't even seen it until Thursday morning when they did the tour, which they did with that car, which was great. Right. Of course, me and my infinite wisdom was like, "Yeah, it's made out of tulip wood." No, it's mahogany. It's just called. Yeah. It's not tulip wood. Well, it's we could do an entire show about things that cars are named that have nothing to do with what they actually are. Exactly. I tell you, the car I liked a whole lot, and if it wasn't the tulip wood Hispana, then the Maybach was unbelievable. That Art Deco 30s Maybach was just. Wow, that car was as elegant as they come. That was there's some we're talking rolling automotive art here. Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that they make them tour, or they don't make them tour, but if you tour, it's a benefit to you if there's a tie in the scoring or something along those lines. And it makes it easy because not everybody can afford a ticket to, and not everybody is going to get a ticket to the concours. So you can pick a corner of the street there and take all the pictures you want. See the cars in motion, which is even better than seeing them, static a lot of the time. So, I mean, a lot of these things are, they're evolving, and the shows are figuring these things out. And it's a great thing because they get these cars out on the street. They show that they're able to be driven. They show that they're able to be used. So that's great. Yeah, and I think that the tour was probably one of our favorite things to do. Although we had a great time at the track at Laguna Seca. That was a lot of fun and a lot of cool stuff we saw, and the cars were absolutely amazing. And the people that you see there, I mean, it's just everybody, just wandering next to you. I'm like, I look over and is that Jeff Gordon standing right there? Yeah. It was just so matter of fact out there that people that or Rob Walton or any of those guys. Yeah, well, I understand that some people saw Stewart Howden out there. Well, apparently he was there with some beautiful, way out of his league woman. So, honey, I love you. I use this as not only my public forum, but my private forum as well, too. There you go. Well, thanks. That's enough. We don't need it anymore, but no more information. So, yeah, it was, that was a lot of fun. And, of course, when we got up at 6:30 in the morning or left the condo at 6:30 in the morning, Kathy's like, where are we going? What are we doing? This is going to be, she was prepared to be bored and had her Kindle prepared and all charged up. She loved it. She had a great time at both at the track and at the tour. Watching, as you said, all those cars leaving was, oh man, it gives me chills just to think about it. Yeah, no, it's great. Back to the auctions. Yes, let's talk some values here. Yeah. Okay. I think that what we're seeing, I mean, just for getting down to the brass tacks, is more of the same, and that is that if you have a great car. And, you and I have talked about this ad infinitum. If you have a great Pinto, a great Chevette, it's going to sell because people want great cars. Right. And the lesser that the car is ready for sale, the less it's going to bring. Right. And that's never going to change back because cars are expensive to restore. They're getting more complicated to restore. The people who can restore them, other than the people who do them themselves,
are getting fewer and far between. So this is where our values, that's where we see our values going in these old cars. The ready to go cars, doesn't matter what it is, they'll bring big money and they'll sell fast,
Sure.
with very few exceptions.
Yeah.
But when you get the lesser cars and you have problems with them, it makes them very, very difficult to sell.
And that's the difficult task that we have in the consignment business, because not everybody has the funds to do it. It may be an estate. There's money's not, allocated for this, and there's no way for them to do it, or the car just has problems and the guy's, struggling a little bit and just needs the car to go away. And like to your point, when people say, okay, the baseline is this, now it needs this, now it needs this, now it needs this, and before you know it, they're going to get to a number, and it's usually not going to make the seller very happy.
Right.
Because used to be nobody cared if the blinkers worked or the headlights worked or the horn worked. Now, absolutely, that better work, because if it doesn't, it can be an expensive fix. Even fixing a blinker all of a sudden can be a wiring nightmare or whatever.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. And, the other thing I like to tell everybody, I'm 70 years old. When I got in the hobby, I was 16 years old. There wasn't 100 years of history of the automobile when I was 16 years old. I was born in 1954.
Right.
So when you think about it, the first, let's just call it real cars, happened around the turn of the century.
Right.
Okay, you can argue 1886 or 1904 or whatever you want to argue. But when I was born in 1954, there was basically 50 years of automobiles.
Right.
Well, look at it now. I mean, add another 70 years to that. And so it gets more complicated.
Sure.
But the fun part is that, there's still, as we love to say in the car business, there's an ass for every seat.
Sure.
And that's a triple entendre when it gets down to it, because, sometimes I enjoy being that ass who grabs that seat because it's what I want, whatever. It's what makes me happy. And sometimes, whatever, it all depends on the price. And that's where I'm having some real issues, putting together the price guide.
Sure.
We keep moving the lesser condition cars down because there's less people who want them.
That's exactly right. And especially if it's not a hugely desirable car to begin with. A 77 Corvette comes to mind. Beautiful cars if you look at them just aesthetically, which we don't because we're so jaded on when it comes to those. And then you find one that needs everything. And where's the value? Is it $3,000? Is it $4,000? It's probably not much more than that.
Yeah.
And especially if it's in white or tan. Did I say that with a little tone? I didn't mean that. White or tan.
Well, we're back there, and here's a sidebar for you. I went to help my sister buy a new F-150 pickup truck,
Right.
and we went to the dealer. All they had was, you don't even have to guess, but
Right.
I'll tell you, white, silver, and black.
That's it.
That's all they had, white, silver, and black. And, you look at some of the colors, and they're not even extra cost colors.
Right.
Guys, how about throwing in a tan every once in a while? How about throwing in that light green every once in a while?
Just for, what's in giggles, Well, they say, like, I bought a brown Mercedes one time, and the dealer, I went in to have it serviced, and he goes, oh, brown Mercedes. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, we don't like to have those on the lot. I go, why not? Because people they can't make up their mind. You got to have white, black, or silver, or people will go, I don't know. Well, I kind of like that. And it's like they don't want people having to vacillate between different colors. They go, I'm a silver guy, a black guy, or a white guy.
And here's a little thing, for everybody to plant the seed into their mind. Which one of those Porsches brings the most? Is it the white one? Nope. Is it the silver one? Nope. Is it the black one? Nope.
No.
It's that weird blue one that brings the most on the used car market.
Right.
And on the collector, no, not on the used car market. I'm sorry. On the used car market, you might take a hit.
Yeah.
But on the collector car market, oh my gosh, when the people see that, Verflacken, purple car, whatever the name of it. I hit the microphone. Sorry about that, guys.
That's the new one.
The Verflacken green car.
I like Verflacken. I didn't know that was a color.
I hope that's a word in German. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I'll get a letter from somebody in Germany.
Right, yeah, exactly.
No, we don't. We never get letters.
What are you talking about my mother-in-law like that?
Yeah, Mrs. Verflacken was a lovely lady.
Yes, for the record, absolutely. Everybody loved her.
But you know what's interesting?
Anyhow,
green cars seem to be kind of trendy right now. That seems to be an interesting color that we see a lot more of in these specialty type cars. Green is very popular and very elegant on these cars too. It can be a color that really stands out.
the most recent example I can think of is the Heritage Edition on the Ford GTs, 2005, 2006. You could not give a Heritage Edition away.
Don't want it.
To a new car buyer.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted it. The Heritage Edition is the Gulf colors. It's the light blue. It's the white and black stripes with the orange. Nobody wanted it. And as soon as those cars stepped into the collector car market, guess what happened?
Yeah.
And guess what is still true? The Heritage Edition sells for more.
They're breaking $1 million now. And when the rest of them are doing 400 or 500, maybe on their best.
I mean, depending on the miles, which is the big indicator,
absolutely.
which is another thing we can talk about because miles mean nothing.
Yeah,
you and I both know that.
How do you the problem is people buy low mileage cars for the wrong reason. If the guy tells me I'm going to buy a Grand National because it's only got 5,000 miles, and what are you going to do with it? Well, I'm going to drive it. Well, if you're going to drive it, then buy this one over here with 50,000 miles on it.
Right.
But how do you factor in those, or do you, those uber low mileage, a 93 Ford Mustang with 22 miles on it? They become outliers because, if let's just say generically they're all worth as much as, I'm making a number up. Sure.
Whatever, they're all worth as much as $35,000, and that one sells for $57,000. It's an outlier. It's as simple as that. Sure. Just like the one that sells for $5,700, because of a title issue, because of this, because of that. So, a lot of times what we have to do is look at it, take a look, find the explanation, and then just throw it out. We've become this cult that worships at low miles.
Right.
We worship it and matching numbers. Yeah. Why? I don't understand that. Either. Okay, if you're going to show your car and you're buying it purely for investment, absolutely, absolutely. I had a friend of mine came to me. He said, "I want to buy a matching numbers 65 Corvette. Right. Year I was born, all that sort of stuff." I said, "Great." I said, "Why do you need matching numbers?" He said, "Well, that's what everybody tells me I need." I said, "What do you plan to do with it?" "I'm going to give it to my son." And I said, "Okay, I got a great idea. How about if we save 1/3 of the price going in, knowing that you're going to get 1/3 less going out of it?"
Exactly.
Whatever. And but people are people.
Yeah. So. It's funny how that is. And we see that often, and we try to steer people in the right direction, but some people are stubborn about that kind of thing and say, no. And I say, you're going to kill the value of if you're buying a car with 300 miles on it, if you're not parking it, that's the only option for you is parking it and just putting it in the corner of your garage or museum or whatever it is, because any miles you put on it is going to diminish the overprice you paid for it.
Well, here's the funny thing though. And I drive an F-150, so I always use that as an example. When I bought my F-150 for an embarrassing amount of money, let's say it started with an 8,
for a pickup
which
truck.
I'll never get used to it. I'm not talking about 8,000 either, guys. But it started with an 8. I knew full well that when I drove it off the lot, it was going to start with a 6. And right now, it probably starts with a 4.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm done with it, it'll probably start with a 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that.
Sure.
But with collector cars, we think differently because they're collector cars. So even if your guy buys that low miles one and drives it, he's going to find the same thing out, just like buying a new car. A lot of times the value just keeps going down, and he's driving the value out of it by not having that 300 miles on it.
Sure.
Anymore. And if that's cool with him or her, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's odd badges of honor in the car world that we see that is just strange how what people, look at that or look at this, or celebrity doesn't have anything, but who was riding in this seat right here? That was Nick Cage had this car. You hear that all the time from people who say, "Oh, celebrity doesn't mean anything," but yet they're the first to tell you who drove this car, who rode in it, who didn't, whatever,
No, I know. There was an article, I think maybe it was in Jalopnik yesterday, about a guy who has 3 200,000-mile kind of late model-ish Ferraris. Nice. This guy's my new hero.
I love
so he
that
buys
guy.
a new Ferrari and he drives it like a car. What? Imagine, my brain explodes when I hear that. Imagine somebody buys a Ferrari and drives it like a car, like it was supposed to be driven.
Exactly. So when you put values, how do these one-off, the Tulipwood Hispana, race cars, 935 Moby Dick twin turbo, blah blah blah. You get into that area, you see the auction house put these estimates. Where are they coming up with these numbers? They're not in the price guides because there's not enough to even make a column for it, right?
Yeah, well, as an appraiser, I'll put my appraiser hat on
Sure.
here. What you have to do is find other comparables.
Right.
You have to find, it's not going to be maybe another Tulipwood car. Maybe it is another Tulipwood car, but from a different manufacturer, with a different body. So you have to use the value attributes. So it has this, it has that, it has this, it doesn't have this. So in a way, it's kind of like an A/B comparison,
right?
Going back to the days when you bought stereos at a store, brick and mortar, and you walked in and they'd have those 6 set of speakers and 6 amplifiers and 6 record players. Now everybody knows what vinyl is now, because now it's not called records; it's called vinyl.
Vinyl, yeah.
And you don't say vinyl records, by the way.
No, that's redundant.
You say vinyl. Just learning you here. But anyhow, they would have a button, and they could play this record player with this amp and with these speakers. So you'd have A, B, C comparisons, just like a menu at a Chinese restaurant. Take one from column A, whatever. And that's basically the job that appraisers have to do, or one of the jobs that appraisers have to do, is they have to get those value attributes and add, deduct, and then come out with an estimate of value. And keep in mind, that's what appraisers do. We estimate value. And keep in mind, that's what price guides do. We estimate value.
It's just an estimate. It's not, there's no money comes out of it when you shake it or anything like that.
Right, exactly. Like I like to say, somebody will come up to me and say, I just sold Miso Grifo for $100,000 more than it's in your book. And my answer is, like we always say down at the Presbyterian Church, Mazel tov, right? I mean, I'm happy for you, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, why shouldn't I be? And, it's great because it's another data point for me. Yeah. And I love having that. But, there's always going to be cars that sell for too much and cars that sell for too little.
And at the end of the day, we're not splitting atoms here. We're just talking about having fun with cars.
As our mutual friend Donnie Gould and I used to say, after every auction, I would say, well, did you see this? Did you see that? And we'd always end the conversation with, it's an auction.
Yeah, it's an auction.
Exactly
of course you're going to see it. And I remember those stereo stores back in the day. It was always that cool guy in the neighborhood who worked at the stereo store. He had the 911 or the 240Z, and he was the cool guy. Yeah, I worked down at the stereo shop,
Sunglasses 24 hours a day, right?
Exactly, the cool guy.
Wait a minute. Well, you and I can't do this anymore, but here's how he flipped his hair back like that, right? Using his thumb to put it
just
back
a little, get a little of that going. So, we could do this all day, and I know you have better things to do, I'm certain. But always love having you on, Dave. We'll make it 4 here before too long, because I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about again.
Well, that sounds like a plan. Thank you very much, Stewart. Good luck to you and all the people at the Auto Mall there. I love that place. I'm going to get up there again soon. I do have a car in restoration nearby, so I'll darken your doorstep again. How's that?
Look forward to it, everybody. Dave Kinney, we'll see you next time. Talk to you later. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes on the Classic Auto Mall Show.
Whether you want to buy or sell a classic, collectible, or special interest vehicle, you need to visit the Classic Auto Mall website for more information. If you're looking to buy, you can easily search our inventory of more than 1,000 vehicles on the web at classicautomall.com.
And we're back with the Classic Auto Mall Show, Classic Auto Mall Studios in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. I like saying that weirdly. I don't know why I do that every time. I don't even know why I do that.
Pennsylvania.
Dave Kinney's great. He just is such a wealth of knowledge and all the stuff. And, between him and Keith Martin, just two guys that just have so much knowledge in this hobby and have been around, as long as I remember. These guys, they were veterans when I just was starting out in the hobby in the good old days.
What's Dave Kinney's title exactly?
Well, he's a publisher of the Hagerty Price Guide, and then he's also a senior accredited appraiser. He has an appraisal company, and that's how he got in the business. But he used to write for Sports Car Market back in the day, too, and he would do the analysis. He'd go to all the auctions, and then he'd analyze, 25, 30, 40 cars that were in the sale. They'd publish those in the magazine. And it was, when it started, it was unheard of, and everybody loved it. It was great because you just got all this inside information from these guys and why something should have brought more, you thought should have brought more, brought less, and so on and so forth. So where did we sell cars this past week, did you ask?
Where? Just a week?
Just a week. It's a little light, too. Lemoyne, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Charleston, West Virginia. Salinas, California. It's Salinas. Yeah, Salinas.
Thank you.
California. I knew that. Gladwin, Michigan. Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Lafayette Hill, Pennsylvania. Swedesboro, New Jersey. Percy, Pennsylvania. Greencastle, Pennsylvania. Roseville, California. Annville, Pennsylvania. North Wales, Pennsylvania. Houston, Texas. And Kaiser, West Virginia.
Nice.
West Virginia. So, do we have an auction coming up? I think we do.
We do have an auction.
It'll be less than 2 weeks from today when this first airs, which would be Saturday.
That's right.
September the 6th, 2025. So don't get confused on the year.
Yeah.
Great sale coming up. We'll have about 85 cars, all absolute. We've actually gotten some, most of it is barn find and parts cars and that kind of thing. But we've gotten here in the past week or so, we've gotten some really nice cars. We've got a 56 Lincoln Continental, no reserve, a 57 Ford Fairlane, no reserve, two-door hard top. We've got a pretty good little BMW.
And that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing else. And but some really
There's
good
no Jaguar.
Yeah, there's no Jaguar, I promise, in some kind of green. We're getting some interesting cars in because a couple of these guys are like, you know what? It's an opportunity for me. You're going to have lots of eyes on it. If it'll bring what the market will bear. I mean, that's what we tell people all the time. Look, we don't set the prices. The market sets the price, and the market is the price that somebody's willing to pay for your car on any given day. And it could be different today as it is tomorrow. Yep. And the next day could be different from that. And so we don't know. But I mean, you talk about with the advent of the internet. I mean, we'll probably have, I don't know, 600 or 700 bidders online bidding on these things. Now, that doesn't mean anything. It means that you've got 600 or 700 guys who registered to bid. They could all sit on their hands and not buy anything. So we can't guarantee anything by that. But it's a damn good number to have. Yeah. It beats 20.
Yeah. I mean, what sparks you to raise your hand or click,
Yeah, that we don't know. But to have that kind of ratio, 10 times the amount of vehicles just in the online, and then that doesn't count the in-person bidding. We'll probably have another 300 or 400 in person, maybe more than that. I mean, we could have 1,000, 1,200 people for 83 cars. Yeah. Or vehicles, I should say. They're not all cars.
That's right. I make that mistake.
So, but as we've said in the past, with most of these cars, about 80% do not have a title.
83%, as a matter of fact, as of right now.
As of right now.
So somebody online said, 99% don't have titles. And I said, no, let me correct you, 83%.
Yeah. I'll get my percentages right.
That's right.
Well, and it's an estate sale, and that's why they sell them. And if that's not for you, then I recommend that you go buy a car somewhere else. I mean, that's right. It may not be for you.
We have 941 that
do have titles
from inside.
Yeah, that do have titles, and some of these newer ones that we've gotten in, the more driver quality or better than driver quality, do have titles. But again, if you got a problem with that, I think go elsewhere. And I'm not trying to discourage business, but it is what it is. The state's not going to go get titles, and if you can figure out a way to get a title, then good for you. And if you buy it for a parts car, then you don't need a title. And if you're buying it for some other reason and have a way to get it, then power to you. But usually if you have to ask about getting a title, that probably is a good indicator that you shouldn't be. That's not a car for you. Yeah. So, and again, not trying to be negative, just trying to be real with people, just like we do with our descriptions. Look, we don't want you buying something you don't know what you're getting, and we don't want you to come up to us after the fact and say, well, I didn't know it didn't have a title. Well,
we mentioned like farm vehicles. The pickup truck that runs, you use it on the farm and never goes out on the street.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that so much. But there are ways to get titles apparently, but that's on you, not on us. So, and we got some interesting Army trucks. That's really going to be the interesting thing. That it's such a wild card. It's hard to put an idea of what value is, as we were talking with Dave Kinney earlier about the value of these things, because there's not a lot of them trade hands. Where you get these troop haulers and these tow trucks, Army tow trucks, and you don't see them at all. So be fun to watch. So
now you can bid now, right?
You can bid now on Proxy Bid and on Geyer Auctions. Randy will put that up on the screen, I'm certain, the Geyer Auction House, where you can go to theirs. And they're a local auctioneer, but that's, if you're a local person and you've done business with them in the past, and it's probably easy for you to register with them. They probably have all your information. If you're out of state or out of the area, then Proxy Bid is probably the better way to go for you. Or you can telephone bid if you want to. We'll call you a few minutes before the car or the vehicle runs across or is shown and being offered, and we'll bid on your behalf until you tell us to stop.
Yeah, you don't have to say which, but didn't you say one or two have a bid of $1?
Yeah.
Hey, it's a start.
It's a start. $1.
Could you imagine? It doesn't get another bid.
And then we made 8 cents.
Yep.
Because our commission is 8%.
It all adds up.
8% of $1 is.
All adds up. That's right.
Yeah, it's all, hey, listen,
not nothing.
It's not nothing. As my old friend Grant Miller used to say, you never go broke making a profit. And he's,
smart.
So
That's
right.
Smart.
I mean, you turned out, I have turned down in the past, and not now and not recently, but in the past in business, I've been, probably ridiculously, stupidly firm on a price on something that I should have said, you know what, that's a fair price. I'm still making a couple of $1,000s here. I wanted to make $10,000, but what's wrong with making $2,000 versus maybe you hold it for another year and you lose $2,000 or something goes wrong with it or something. So, I mean, we've all probably made that mistake, and, shame on us, but it is what it is. Other or new arrivals that we have, I think this one's already sold, the 73 Plymouth Barracuda hardtop, rally red over white and black, numbers matching 318 two-barrel. Great presentation, rebuilt front suspension so it drives nice, splendidly, it might say. And it's got the broadcast sheet, which is so fascinating to read these sheets that you find under the seat of these cars to tell you how the car was born and what it came with. And then to Dave Kinney's point earlier in this first segment, numbers matching is really only important for collectability and if you're looking to flip something to resell. If you're looking to buy something to drive, buy a 327 Corvette with not the original motor. Who cares? It's still a cool-looking car. Sure. Nobody's going to banish you from the Corvette world because you got a 327 that was built in 66 and the car itself was built in 65. No, it's not no harm, no foul.
That's right.
And it's a collectible thing, and I get that. So, other new arrival, the 1996 AM General Hummer H1, white over gray. It's got graphics all over.
That one, yeah.
This thing is not for the meek.
If you're shy.
If you're shy, do not buy this car. 6.5 liter turbo diesel, 4-speed automatic, go anywhere capable. I think it would climb this building if it wanted
easily.
to. And rugged and luxurious.
Yes, it is.
It's
interesting
like
how the seating is in those things.
Yeah, it's way far apart.
Way far apart.
It's like coffee. I remember there was an ad they used to run in the old days. Coffee. It calms you down and picks you up. Which one is it? Calm me down? Pick me up? I don't know.
I worked at a dealer one time and he had one and we went and I was in the front seat with him and it's like you had to use a stick, like a fishnet to pass the coffee.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, the next one we got in is very cool and is one of yours and my favorites, the 2012 Cadillac CTS-V station wagon.
It's still here.
I know.
It's
I
amazing
cannot believe that. I'm so shocked.
It's amazing, yeah.
I'm shockingly shocked.
Very good.
50,000 actual miles. So, again, as we talked about in segment one, low miles is, oh my God, I got a CTS-V Cadillac and it's got 350 original miles. What are you going to do with it? You're going to drive it? You're going to go down
Fix
the
the seals first.
Buy this one for $50,000 or with 50,000 miles on it. A lot less money. Just as much fun, just as cool.
And clean.
And clean as it can be. 6.2 liter supercharged V8, 6-speed automatic, meticulously maintained. And it's the rare long roof. Now, that's not the rare long roof edition. It's a rare station wagon is what we mean to say by that. So
I think we should slap some Classic Auto Mall decals on it and just use it as the company car.
Well, we've got a station
production
wagon
car
that's down in Malvern.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
At Radnor Hunt that we bought, 66 Plymouth Fury.
That's true.
Sport Suburban station wagon. That thing is cool. Cool.
That's one.
That's the start. Yeah, we got more employees. They can't just have one car to pass around.
Yeah, they made it there and back, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they made it there. It hadn't made it back yet. Other new arrival, the 1970 Dodge Challenger convertible, bright blue metallic over blue, beautifully restored, won a 2900 build, numbers matching 318, numbers matching manual. It's got an added shaker hood and the desirable pistol grip shifter.
I love that pistol grip.
You grab that thing.
It is the most iconic
I feel
shifter.
like I'm in control.
Yeah. Take aim.
We used to talk about, we should do that again. We talked about hood scoops that we liked, shifters that we liked, and spoilers that we liked, and things like that.
That's a good segment.
It was a great segment. It was a good old
days. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
We used to do the quiz and everything. We used to have all prizes.
We had nothing else to do. We talk about it. We couldn't get any guests. It was terrible.
Time to kill.
How about the 1970 Buick Skylark custom convertible, fire red over white? I really liked the body style of these 70 Buick Skylarks. They are good-looking cars. Yeah. Convertible, 47,000 actual miles. It was restored in 2013, so 12 years ago.
Yes.
Turbo Hydromatic 350 with a 350 cubic inch, 2-barrel V8, great top-down cruiser. I mean, this is a car that will get attention everywhere you go. I don't care how expensive the other cars are around it.
That is true.
And last but not least, the 1931 Chevrolet AE Independence 5-window coupe. Yes. I love 5-window coupes. They're so cool. Black over pewter. It's got a 45 cubic inch LS7 V8. It's Rodder's Digest featured. This thing is a hot rod. You would never expect somebody to pick a 5-window coupe to do this to. Normally, they kept them restored in as-built condition.
Yeah.
But the value of those has gone down so much, and I think people are saying, well,
might as well
do this. Right. So DFI fuel injection, air conditioning, and the old Willwood disc brakes. So when we return, we'll see you next week.
No. One more segment.
I thought we were going to do this segment as the last segment.
Nope, because Keith is back.
I know, but wasn't we going to slot him in between segment 1 and 2?
We can do whatever you want.
Well, okay. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Keith Martin, Sports Car Market Magazine. We'll see you then.
The Classic Auto Mall has more than 1,000 vehicles for consignment in our huge 8-acre climate-controlled showroom. It's a real indoor mall. If you'd like to know all the advantages of buying and selling a car through consignment, the information is available on our website, or you can talk to a classic car specialist who can answer all your questions. It's easy, safe, convenient, and it doesn't matter where you are. We sell worldwide. See our huge selection of classic and collectible vehicles at classicautomall.com.
And we're back with the Devo show.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. Are we not men? We are Devo.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like.
Like driving around the Coast Highway.
All right. So anyway, we were driving around the Coast Highway a couple of weeks
That
ago.
would be great music for it.
That would. Joining us via Zoom, Keith Martin. Thank you for rejoining us. You've been AOL for a couple of weeks, but with good cause. You did a nice little family road trip, and I'm sure you enjoyed yourself and got lots of driving time in.
It was, Stewart, as you know, time with your kids is hard to come by.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about this little mini tour I put together for my daughter, her husband, and my son in 2 cars, we had dinners together 4 nights in a row. We had lunches every day. We could never make that happen in regular life.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important to spend time with family because, time is precious, and we all, people get too busy in their lives sometimes, and the important things get put on the back burner, so to speak.
Well, we're always too busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for everything. That was me going to Monterey. That's still going to Monterey.
So I want to know, I heard that supercars are taking over the Monterey streets. Did you notice that?
Oh, my God. I just said all I want is the spent fuel that's burning up, popping in those exhaust pipes for every Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, BMW. It's pop, 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 all night long. And it was crazy. But you know what was really interesting about the whole thing is that how people were respectful, people were nice, people were friendly. Nobody was in a bad mood. You waited a little bit at a restaurant and you were prepared for it. So, it's all managing expectations of things that you do. And I think that people have a tendency to not manage their own expectations or manage in business their customers' expectations. And so with that respect, everybody seemed to be just pretty darn chill for, being out there in the epicenter of the car world.
Did you go to Pebble?
I did go to Pebble. We saw the tour on Thursday morning, leave at 7, god-awful in the morning, and that was really amazing. And then, of course, the Pebble, the day was on Sunday was just unbelievable. It's such a beautiful place to begin with, and then add the beautiful cars, the beautiful people. The funniest takeaway for the whole week, for the whole Sunday, was that the line for buying merchandise was an hour long. Wouldn't you like to have merchandise so popular and it was expensive that people waited an hour to buy it? It was just floored me.
And my guess is that stuff's all available on a website as well.
Absolutely, but there's something about that tangible for our generation and even older. I think I can't tell you how many times I go in to buy something. Well, we don't have your size, but we can order it for you. Nah, I'll pass. Something about that tangible, even though now you got to lug it around and you got to get it home in the suitcase, which is now overweight grossly. I think our suitcase weighed 68 pounds.
Yeah.
So they have those nice thick programs. That's part of the problem. So you were doing your family vacay, but you were keeping an eye on things back at the Sports Car Market Central, right?
Yeah, I've in my front room, I've got a 62-inch TV, and I thought that the live stream this year was far better than it's ever been in the past.
I don't disagree. I've watched a little bit of it. I think that they are, in the past, I like the focus that they have now in the way that they're doing it. It was a little bit looser before and not looser in a good way, I don't think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thought the commentators did a good job. I thought the interviews were short and to the point.
Right.
We got good views of the cars. I mean, it really, it was almost like being there.
Right, exactly. Well, it's like watching a football game versus going to a football game live when it's 14 below zero and you miss the play and you don't have instant replay and you got to go stand in line for a beer and a hot dog, or you can sit at home in front of your 62-inch TV and your surround sound and you're there. So
yeah, the other thing is that all the auctions were live streamed as well.
Right, exactly, which I love. It's always fun to watch those if you can't be there in person, because you can switch around to 3 different auctions. You can't do that in Monterey. You can't just say, I think I'm going to pop on over to so-and-so. It doesn't work that way.
Right. I want to be there Thursday, so I'm going to leave Tuesday.
It sounds like an excellent plan. We really enjoyed it.
Highway 1, I've been to Pebble 30 times, and
right.
it's always the same.
Yeah, it's crazy and nuts. We drove to Big Sur for lunch on, I think it was Thursday after the tour took off, and we timed it perfectly. We didn't catch a whole lot of traffic. There weren't many of the clubs. The tour cars had already come and gone, and what a beautiful drive that is. That's as pretty a part of the world as you'll ever see. I just was floored at the scene. Every time you came around a corner, oh, there's another beautiful view.
Yeah. And a beautiful car.
Oh my God. The cars were over the top. It was everything we imagined and more. And my wife, who was going for me, not reluctantly, but just knew that this was my bucket list trip. She had a great time. She had a great time out at the track at Laguna Seca. She had a great time watching the cars take off at Pebble on Sunday, the restaurants, the people. It turned out it was more fun for her than she anticipated, and that was really good.
How did you set that up, Stewart, to position her to have a good time at this car guy love fest?
Well, I can tell you the one thing that I never do that I did this time is that I made an itinerary and a plan, and we stuck to it. So she knew every minute of every day what the plan was, when she had time to work, when she had time to call the grandkids, when we were going to be at dinner, and it seemed to make her more at ease having all that, and me as well, because it was overwhelming. I was like, oh crap, are we missing this or are we missing that? Or, and I think by having that itinerary, it forced us to do everything in a logical way. And we weren't ever rushed or feeling like we were, missing something.
So you don't have to tell me the truth here, but did you end up using the SCM Insider's Guide to Monterey?
I absolutely did. I promise you, I had a folder, Carmel 2025, and it had my itinerary, which was 19 pages, and it had the SCM guide in it, and it had some maps of the Pebble Beach, and it had some maps of Carmel, and it had a list of places we were going to go, and we used it frequently, especially for addresses to plug into the GPS, because we drove everywhere. And so having those addresses right there all in one place was really, really helpful.
Yeah, that's our 24th year, I think, of doing that guide.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And we try to bring it all together. And we try to put it in one place where it's everything about Monterey, your schedules. And like I said to you, I insist on physical addresses for the GPS.
Yeah.
It simplifies it, and you can't. What did you not get to? Did you get to Legends of the Autobahn?
Yeah, the only thing we didn't get to was that we wanted to. We didn't go to Legends of the Autobahn, and we didn't go to Concours de Lemons, and we're going to do that next year, and we're already planning next year because they said Concours de Lemons is just fun. It's just way more fun than you expect. And we did go by Doty's, the used car lot that people buy a lot of those, and there was some weird, crazy, hard to describe stuff going on out in front of that building. I'll just put it that way. It was a strange day, but we had a really good trip overall. We were exhausted. The problem that we have is being gone for 8 days from our business. And you know this, even with computers, even with everything, it puts you behind the 8 ball.
That's right.
And
and you're trying to follow up with the people you've just met.
Right. And that's difficult. Here we are 2 weeks out, and I've still got a few people on my list to call that we'd met out there. And so it's so much overload. But when you get home, then you have to kind of organize, okay, I got to make sure I told this guy I would email him because he didn't have a card, or I didn't have a card with me or whatever it was. I never didn't have a card with me. Let's get that part straight. I had cards. Everybody had a card? But it was, it's you kind of got to have a game plan for that as well, too, because you don't want to tell somebody, I'm going to call you when I get back, and then you never call them. And, you know, and then all of a sudden, then you go, oh, crap, that was 3 months ago. Now, if I call them, I'm really going to look like a rube. So you have to really manage your time and your hours of what you do in a day, and especially when you've been to an event like that, or events.
Right.
So
Right. And so you're going to go back.
We're going back. We've already got a room. We're going to reserve it this week for next year, and we're already going back. Of course, all the guys have wanted to try to figure out how we can do the show from there, so they can all come and go as well too. So,
exactly.
as long as we have 1 million viewers by this time next year, then I'll bring all of you. So that's my word.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to it. So.
Those NetJets things are pretty cheap.
Yeah, they're pretty reasonable, aren't they? Especially if you pile as much in there as you can. You know, it's like all you can eat buffet. You know,
Right.
I got 30 guys for this plane. Well, sir, it only holds 12. Well, we're getting 30 on here because
And you get a discount if you bring your own box lunch.
nice. I like that. Let me have to make a note of that for
And I
next
think
year.
you can get a Costco fuel card.
Yeah, I was just getting that pesky jet to get into that Costco. You need the fold back wings like the James Bond airplane had. What was that? The BDE-5 or the BD-5? You don't know this? You're a movie guy. You should reference this. So they had folding wings.
I want to touch on something today. You mentioned I had a family vacation, and just briefly, we had a couple of cars. Lotus Elise is a modern car. The Alpha Spider is an old car.
Right.
But I found that going 65 or 70 miles an hour on twisty 2-lane roads is as fast as you need to go.
Right.
And I watch these hypercars blow by. They can go 200 miles an hour, and they don't have a driver that has any idea what's going on with those cars.
Exactly. Yeah, it's scary to see them out of control a little bit. You see videos all the time on Facebook of that.
No, well, did you see the supercars blocked off 17-mile drive one night?
Yeah, it was.
What's that about?
I don't know. It's rebellious, and I can't imagine being rebellious when you're young and have a supercar.
And rich.
Yeah, there's a little bit of money. I think if you had a black American Express card, you were, upper middle class maybe.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, nothing was cheap out there, but if you go into it knowing what you know ahead of time and not just kind of blindly wander into it, it makes it a little bit more palatable. You can stand it a little bit more when you spend a little extra than you thought.
Yeah, it's just it's what do we call it? The price you pay, pay to play.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're going to be in the classic car or special interest car business, then if you're not there, you're missing it. Same with Scottsdale in January. You really should be there. Yep. It's an important thing for our hobby, and it's great people to meet. And the more people you meet, the more you get to meet. And to meet some of these people that you've kind of idolized over the years, and to now get to know them and talk to them and have them on the show. That's a dream come true stuff. So you got to take advantage when you can, because you only do this once, right? There's only one trip around the earth, or whatever they call it.
No, that's exactly right. Pebble looked beautiful this year.
It was really nice. The weather was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was everything we expected and then some.
And the array looked staggering.
And everybody picked the Best of Show winner, and it was not hard to pick that Hispana. I mean, it was spectacular looking in person, and it was unique. I think that set it apart. Although, as I said to Dave Kinney earlier, that Maybach, that 32 Maybach that was in the show, or was one of the finalists for Best in Show, was stunning. I mean, I
think that was Dana Meekum's car.
It was, and that car was spectacular. It really. I didn't notice it the first trip through the field, but when it pulled up there, it's like, oh my God, that thing just shouts at you in a subtle way.
Yeah, Dana is an interesting guy because he's got a hand in two pots. He's got the Everyman auction, and then he's got his high-end collection.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's interesting to see. Most of the stuff that he sells isn't in that realm, although they do get some cars like that out there in Monterey and in Kissimmee as well, too. They've got that Ferrari 250 GTO coming up in Kissimmee. So, but you're right. I mean, the core business is no different than us. It's the Mustangs and the Chevelles and the El Caminos and the Camaros,
Right. That's right. And somehow he gets 1 to 2,000 cars at every auction.
I don't know how he does. I don't know how they logistically do it, much less just do it. It's an amazing amount of cars. I mean, Kissimmee one year had over 4,400 cars. I don't know how many. You got to have 1,000 people working for you to manage all that, you would think, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of admiration in the industry for how hard Dana's family works.
They work hard, and he does too. And even when he was a little bit ill of health, he was out there as much as he possibly could be, and he looked like he was tired. He could have just taken a nap. And worked his butt off because, I'm sure he didn't come from a lot of money. He didn't come from, I remember when he was doing auctions with 200 and 300 cars and struggling to get that many in a field in Illinois. So, hats off to hard work and persistence, right?
I agree 100%.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you back, and hope they get your elevator all lined out. And
I know. When I pressed the button for it this morning in my condo, and it said emergency power only.
Doesn't make you feel good. It's like buying a steak that they've marked down because it's, we're getting close to the end date on it. It's like, I don't know if I want to.
It's also, you don't, you have a choice then, right? Do you stay on the ground floor and wait? Or when the door opens, do you hope that it'll get you all the way to your floor and not stop 2 floors short?
I'm thinking I'm turning around, going out, getting in my car and finding something to do for a while. And hopefully my brain will have forgotten about the fact that the elevator didn't work when I was there earlier. And I'll just get in it and push the button and go pray that it goes up.
And I'd say, Stewart, live from the coffee shop.
Do you get cell phone service in the elevator? So I have to check that next time you're in the elevator. See how your signal is. So, because we can't miss you, Keith. We got to have you. And if you're in the elevator, then we'll still talk to you.
Well, I'll get a remote cam I'll get an elevator cam.
There you go. Oh, that sounds great. We'll have to watch some of that. That'll be fun. Anyway, Keith Martin, so wonderful to have you on the show again as usual, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. Thanks. Great to see you, Stewart.
You too, Keith. Bye-bye.
Here's a special offer from Sports Car Market Magazine. Get a 6-month subscription for just $19.95 by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive and the number 6. That's sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. If you're a buyer, a seller, or just general classic car enthusiast, publisher Keith Martin says,
we've been around almost 40 years. It's the Wall Street Journal of the collector car world.
Activate your 6-month trial of Sports Car Market Magazine by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. Offers for a limited time. Be in the know with Sports Car Market.
The Classic Auto Mall Show with their host, Stewart Howden. Executive producer, Steve Sethier. Produced and engineered by yours truly, J.R. Russ. Video editor, Randy Lammy. Available on ClassicAutomall.com, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Music courtesy of the Pat Travers Band. For tour dates, contact, and stuff, visit PatTravers.com. Produced by Car Smarts Media. Copyright all rights reserved.